and I'll be travelling to Serbia and get to see the dark side of Belgrade. I was in Zagreb, Croatia, in a football ground which, although it may not look like much, witnessed an event in the history of football as significant as anything Wembley, the Nou Camp or the Maracanã has ever seen. In May 1990, the former Yugoslavia was on the brink of civil war. Nationalism within the two largest republics, Croatia and Serbia, was at an all-time high. As this political powder keg was about to explode, one of the biggest club matches of the Yugoslav football season took place between Dínamo Zagreb and Red Star Belgrade.
Hooliganism generally had been rising through the late 70s and 80s, as it had across Europe. But in Yugoslavia it had a nationalist element. Red Star were very much Serb nationalists. Dínamo Zagreb were the hardcore of the Croatian nationalists. The Red Star fans went up there with acid to burn down security fences. Both sides had stockpiled rocks in the stadium beforehand so they could use them as weapons. It was pre-arranged. Everybody knew it was going to go off.
And go off it did, as the Croats and the Serbs fought out a ferocious battle in an explosion of pent-up nationalism and hatred. This was not just Dynamo v Red Star, the Bad Blue Boys v Delia. This was Croatia v Serbia. Football photographer Toma Mihailovic has covered the game for over 50 years, and he was there that day.
Atmosphere was like we know that something is not good, but nobody was surprised because we were expecting sometimes to blow up.
During the game, the Red Star fans started tearing up the seats in this end. The Bad Blue Boys of Zagreb, who were in this end here, tried to break down the fences to get to the Red Star. They beat back the police, who, being mostly Serbs, came in for special attention from the Bad Blue Boys. And it wasn't only fans who got involved. When a policeman attacked a Dynamo fan lying on the ground, Dynamo's Croatian captain, Boban, decided to exact revenge. Boban's kick was a symbolic moment. It was the beginning of the end for Yugoslavia.
For me, it was a sad day. It was a terrible day, and I was feeling that I'm losing something. I have to forget all friends and all the clubs and everybody, you know. And I'm feeling that is something we came to the end. And I was sorry about that.
And Toma was right. As a year later, it wasn't punches and kicks that were being exchanged. It was gunfire and grenades, as Croatia and Serbia went to war. And the hooligans swapped their firms for their armies and signed up. The civil war raged for 4 years, with more than 15,000 people killed. And by the end, Croatia and Serbia were two separate countries. It was one of the most incredible stories I'd ever heard. Football hooliganism as a political event, one of the biggest moments in the history of two nations, the start of a war which is still fresh in the mind.
We hate them. I cannot tell you with the words what do I feel against them. You have in England firms and clubs who hate each other, but I really don't think so that you have such example.
And there's certainly nothing in England like the memorial for the members of the firm that died fighting for Croatia. A memorial that shows the riot, which they believe was the real start of the war.
This is a statue for our brave lads who have been killed in the war for our freedom, for freedom of our country. This is everything for us. This is like a church, you know. Every time we pass here, we make a little prayer for our guys. It's a very, very, very emotional part of the stadium for us.
It's very powerful.
Yes.
The Bad Blue Boys weren't the only ones to die for their country. This is a memorial in Split, dedicated to the members of the Torcida, who made the ultimate sacrifice for Croatia.